Hello and welcome to First Thoughts. I'm Connor Eyzaguirre.
I'm Caleb.
And today we're discussing Disney's fourth huge box office failure this year, Haunted Mansion. Yet another movie based off of their various theme park rides. And a fairly decent film, pretty good, destined to pretty much never be talked about again, which is kind of sad, but a good watch, I felt. How about you?
Same. I thought it was a good watch. I overall liked it. It's not going up there with, like, in my whole of like their live action stuff, and nothing's ever going to beat like what they were able to pull off at Pirates of the Caribbean as far as like adapting their rides. I don't know why they're trying so hard every single time to get failure each time. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. I think Jungle Cruise was a hit, but I don't know if they're ever going to do a sequel to that.
Yeah, let's run those down real quick. So theme park rides, that became movies. Obviously, there's the Pirates franchise, which is 3 for 5, so not bad.
Yeah.
And then there was the original Haunted Mansion with Eddie Murphy, which I don't remember at all. I haven't seen it since I was a kid. I remember thinking it was okay, but apparently no one else did.
Yeah, it's not falling. Remember, there was a TV movie before they ever did Pirates. I think like Tower of Terror or something. Like there was like,
Forget about Tower of Terror. I had that on tape as a kid. I liked that a lot.
yeah, so there was I think it was a Disney Channel movie that they turned it
Yeah.
into. That was technically their first one before they got hit big with Pirates.
Yeah. Gutenberg and Kirsten Dunst. Yeah, it was actually not. It was pretty creepy. They had its moments.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good. Then there was, I think, Tomorrowland.
Yeah, no one liked that.
I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was amazing, but I didn't think it was a disaster. I just thought it was kind of like, all right.
Yeah, I never saw it, so I heard like horrendous. Everyone's like, "Don't watch it."
It doesn't make any sense. There's no story going on. I don't know. I don't remember really the details. Then Jungle Cruise, which I liked. I thought, it was way better than I expected. It was basically Pirates meets The Mummy with a little, with little Dwayne Johnson action. But
Yeah, I liked it too. Yeah, I enjoyed that one, and Emily Blunt, so I was happy.
yeah, I liked the whole, incorporating Metallica's "Nothing Else Matters" into the score. I thought was a cool idea. And yeah, well done. And that brings us to Haunted Mansion, which John Favreau almost made a Space Mountain movie, but that never happened.
Well, that didn't happen.
What else they got? Like, we're never getting a Splash Mountain movie. That would be just controversial as hell.
I mean, based off what's happening with Haunted Mansion, I don't think we're getting any ride adaptations for a while.
See, that's what people said when Tomorrowland came out. But Disney doesn't know the meaning of the word quit. They're gonna force everything into your face until until they get something. That's how Disney works.
True. But I also remember when that came out, I think at that point they had Marvel at least. So it was like, okay, this is a flop, but we were making bank off this or whatever. They have not had that luxury this year like they have had in the past.
Well, now I'm thinking, because they're bombing with literally every aspect of their production company, with the animated movies, with Pixar, with Lucasfilm, with Marvel, I feel like now it's going to be throw everything we've got at the wall. Something's got to stick. I feel like that's going to be the mentality they're going to take for the future. So I think we're going to get some weird shit.
Oh God, that could be a good and a bad thing.
I know. I couldn't tell you what's gonna, what I couldn't tell you a project that could save their goodwill with audiences at this point. I don't think it's going to be the Marvels. I don't think it's going to be Wish or Elio. Anything they've got planned that we've seen trailers for, I don't think it's going to be enough.
No, because I don't see anyone really excitedly talking about all these few films. Like the few people that are in the audience for Wish, and there was kids in the audience. There was a couple of families there. none of them really responded when the trailer for Wish came on. Like, no, there's not a huge response. It was like, okay, well, cool.
For my theater, we didn't even get a Wish trailer. We got the Marvel. Actually, they played the trailer for. Oh no, wait, that was for Talk to Me. Yeah, they played the trailer for Bottoms twice in a row. I don't know how that happened. I think there was a glitch, but yeah, everyone was kind of like, "What?" There was a very visible confusion in the audience. But yeah, for Haunted Mansion, it was the Marvels. It was uh, I don't fucking remember. I just remember the Marvels. I know I didn't see Wish.
Yeah, I know Cinemark played like all the animated films. Like I didn't see a single until they showed the Marvels. I didn't see a single live action film advertised when I went. Um,
Oh, we got Next Goal Wins was one of the trailers we got, which I
oh,
think looks hysterical.
that looks great, but that's Taika Waititi. So I mean,
Yeah.
or
Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle was one. Five Nights at Freddy's. Weirdly,
they why did they play all these in front of like a kids movie? Ultimately,
I don't really know. Like, is Five Nights at Freddy's supposed to be a legitimate horror movie or a gateway horror movie? Because I'm not sure.
it's legitimate. I mean, it's PG-13 because the game itself it doesn't have any content to necessitate an R rating. If we're being honest, um, but I've heard they're going like it's horror. I'm sure it's going to be gateway, but with a lot more bite because it's Blumhouse. It's not Disney doing it, so it's going to have a hell of a lot more bite to it.
Okay, I just usually you don't see a legitimate horror movie trailer in front of a Disney movie.
Well, and that's why I was like, that's weird because I think they're going for legitimate horror. Horror still meant to be like, you can take like your family if you so chose to it, but there's gonna be intense scenes.
Do you remember that time back in 2013 when Frozen was a huge success and some theater got in super huge trouble because they accidentally started playing that 2010 horror movie called Frozen?
Oh yeah,
And people were like horrified because it took a minute for them to turn that off.
dude, I remember. I think it was when The Hills Have Eyes 2 came out, and apparently I forgot what Disney film was coming out at that time, but they act or it may have been Despicable Me actually. One of those. It was some animated film. They accidentally flipped the reels. And so the kids got the opening birthing scene in Hills Have Eyes 2, and people who wanted a gore fest got a fucking animated movie that they didn't want to see.
Jesus Christ. Oh, I wonder how long it took the like horror crowd to realize they weren't being like this wasn't leading to anything. Like they kept waiting for the other shoe to drop, but it never did, and they were just like, "This isn't scary, but damn, is it charming?"
I guess we'll keep watching. I guess we'll just have to see Hills Have Eyes 2 another day.
They hate watched that movie, whatever it was. That's hilarious. I love when shit like that happens. I think it happened when one of the Saw movies accidentally got played in front of a Pixar. Was it Saw 5?
It was Saw 5 because I remember it was all about that fucking opening scene got watched by children. For those of you who don't know, Saw 5 opens with a Megan and like cut in half by a pendulum in very graphic detail.
Oh, that's beautiful. What Saw 5 was what, 2008?
They came out yearly. So
Well, 6 was 2009.
2009.
I count backwards from Saw 7. So yeah, 08. So it was Wally.
Oh my god, all those poor kids that went to go see Wally.
Oh my god. That's fantastic. Anyway, okay, Haunted Mansion. I've never been to Disney World. I've never been on the ride, so I don't know what the Haunted Mansion ride is. My mom has been, and she told me that like there's a part where like the chair, flinging people out of the house, that was part of the ride.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess some of the ghosts were inspired by the ride. I think the crystal ball thing and
I'm sure the more prominent ghosts we saw, like I think Madame Leota and the Hatbox are part of the ride, from what I understand. And yeah, I think like the prominent ghosts are part of the ride. Yes, they snuck in Easter eggs, like your mom's talking about with the chair, that are part of the ride. But I haven't been on the ride, so I can't tell you myself.
Yeah. I had no idea Jamie Lee Curtis and Jared Leto were in this. Like, was that advertised or did they keep that under wraps?
No, that was advertised.
Well, I must have completely missed that.
Yeah, I remember. I knew about it. And also there is a trailer where you briefly see her. It's one of the TV spots I think was playing that showed her real quick. Jared Leto, he's in it, but I mean, you don't really see him or hear his stupid voice.
Yeah, he's weird that they paid for Jared Leto if they're just gonna give us a CGI ghost and an amplified voice.
I know. I wonder if they told him like, dude, you're not gonna be fucking method. Just play the goddamn part, shut the fuck up, leave us out of the press. I would tell him that. Like,
I would love if he was like he was about to cut his head off for the sake of method acting. They're like, no, none of that. And he's like, oh, okay.
I would have just let him be like, you know what, guys? Let this one happen. Let this one happen. Let's get rid of this douchebag once and for all. Let's let it happen. Anyone wondering, he is one of the many people in Hollywood that I think is a amazingly huge douchebag. Good actor, and when he's not attached to a franchise, aka Dallas Buyers Club, Requiem for a Dream, things like that. But oh my god, what a douche. What a man that seems what a pompous asshole that he comes off being.
Yeah. From what I hear, there was that whole cult he started. Like there's a lot of weird shit surrounding Jared Leto.
There's a lot of weird shit. He probably thinks he's hot shit because he's a man that sucks. They have one good song.
Well, yeah, that and giving him an Oscar probably didn't help.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong, he was great in Dallas Buyers Club, but
no. Yeah, now Jamie Lee Curtis is now an Oscar winner too. So good for her.
Yeah, good for her. But with that said, was Jared Leto for once actually bearable in a movie has like I know this isn't a franchise per se, but the closest thing to it since he's had issues with superhero films. Was he entertaining this? Yeah, I liked his part in this.
I think it's a good safe bet that if Disney has if the name Disney slapped on it, the intention is a franchise.
Well, yeah.
Every single time.
I
heard they're going back to John Carter, like they're trying that again.
I actually don't mind the movie. I have seen it since it came out. I was like, I don't mind this. I don't think it's the disaster people made it out to be.
I didn't think it was that bad either. The amount of money Disney lost on that, you'd think they would bury that shit forever.
Yeah, you think they never go back to it.
That is some desperation right there. I know. The decision making over there is fucking crazy.
Don't know who Iger's talking to because all his actors are on strike and his writers, but
I mean, the board of Disney has got to. I mean, their lips have got to be chapped from all the ass kissing they've been doing for so long. Because nobody ever tells the CEO that, hey, that's a bad idea ever. Like there's so much evidence that has never happened.
Dude, between that and Musk leading Twitter, yeah, I'm sorry, it's not Twitter anymore.
I was going to correct you. I've never heard of Twitter. Are you talking about X, the greatest social media site ever?
Dude, let me tell you. So on my phone, right, I have X, put into my social little thing. On iPhones, you can make those little categories. So I made a social one for all my social media, right? If I'm not zoomed in, basically, like my regular lock screen, it still shows Twitter. But as soon as I hit it, it switches it to X.
So you have you have a brief window into the past.
Yeah, it's like my phone's fighting it. It's like, no, this is stupid.
I heard that like they're no longer called tweets. They're now posts. Like everything that made Twitter unique has been erased.
After he sat there and got all pissy that Mark Zuckerberg was like, well, I'm going to do threads and basically have a Twitter for that he owns, and then what was Musk's comment? I'm all about competition, but that's just cheating. And now he's like copying exactly what Facebook does. I'm like, dude, you bitched about it and now you're doing it.
I think Zuckerberg should buy the trademark Twitter and just rebrand Threads as Twitter.
As Twitter, he should just do that to fuck with them. I would.
That would be amazing. Just Twitter, like Threads, just becomes Twitter again, and everyone's happy.
Exactly. And everyone just migrates over, and X goes away forever.
Everyone's already started migrating over.
Oh yeah, because again, look, if anyone else wants to know my stance on Musk, he's an idiot and a terrible businessman. He is rich because of his dad's fucking blood money, and that's it.
Isn't it crazy how long it took us to realize that? There was a long period where we're like, oh, this guy's Tony Stark. He's a genius. He's going to end world hunger. He's going to take us to Mars. And then he got into the social spotlight, and we all quickly realized he was a dangerously unstable moron with a
Mhm.
serious inferiority complex.
Oh yeah, he has this belief that he needs to have as many children as possible. Him and his dad, which is really gross. If you've heard anyone who's heard the news story that his dad in his 70s had a child, a significantly younger, like their nanny or whatever, consensually they fucked a couple of times. It's a whole weird thing, but yeah, what it must be like to have money and basically live like a porn star lifestyle because you have money and people just come to you. Um, but what's with Musk's fascination with like X? Have you SpaceX? Like, why is he like X so much? Who hurt him?
Probably a guy named Xavier or Max or something.
I did like X. Oh yeah, but the point earlier was apparently Musk's one of those that like wants to have as many kids as possible because he believes in like the world population is declining, and I'm like, I thought we were overcrowded. I thought that's what all the science was saying was like we're overpopulated.
We just had a plague, and we're still overpopulated.
Yeah.
Like
So
the last thing we need is more white bread rich assholes in this planet.
yeah, and it really it just leads into like a common thing amongst like the more like extreme right leaning of like wanting children because they can't fathom that more younger generations don't want to have kids because of various reasons, from social climate, economical things like that.
Or just the decision that you just don't want to have kids. That's a perfectly reasonable decision to make.
Yeah, it's perfectly reasonable.
The big thing for them is actually, and this happened a lot in the turn of the century. It's white people afraid of mixed race people, so they're like, "Hey, other white people, we need more white people."
No,
That's a big part of what this is.
there's nothing wrong with mixed race. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, there used to be a Teddy Roosevelt, that believe it or not, was one of the people who was like, "Any woman who is not breeding Americans is a traitor to this nation."
Wheat Jesus.
Yeah, I know. When I found that out, I was like, Teddy, I thought you were one of the good ones. Damn it. But anyway, yeah, we don't need more people. So don't let anyone tell you we need more people.
Yeah, and also as far as I'm concerned, it's still Twitter, not this stupid X fascination that Elon has.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird to see a company that's been like so prominent in our lifetimes crumble so fucking fast. It's really weird.
Oh, yeah, it's so weird because and why they and apparently I think it was Josh that told me the whole thing with Twitter why they were trying so hard to get him to buy it when he said he'd make the offer, and then he backed out. I guess those are rule in California that if you offer to buy something more than what it's worth, you have to buy it. You can't back out of it. So they were like, "No, you're buying this, buddy, because you fucking offered way more than it's worth."
Great. So this is basically uh like a very expensive sweater that he couldn't return and is now stuck with.
Yeah.
Great.
If I was a person in charge of Twitter, I'd be like, "No, it's fine. If he backs out, I don't care. I'm going to keep this and die rich."
Well, I don't remember how we got onto a Twitter rant, but it's hard to ignore when it's so prominent in the news. Uh
Disney. I mean, it's
Disney.
how I get a good chunk of my news for like the sound bites and stuff for like the strike is people posting the sound bites on Twitter. Fuck you.
Oh, yeah. Big companies are crumbling. Aliens are apparently real and no one cares. The planet's on fire. The strike's ongoing. Hollywood's in the death, like having its death rattle. What great times. Am I right?
The only hope I have is Gen Z based off the midterms. Gen Z could turn this all around and save us all.
Honestly, politically, yes. Environmentally and socially, we're fucked. Like there's nothing to be done there. So even if Gen Z turns up and abolishes the GOP, everything's still fucked.
I have faith.
Okay.
Look, you're always pessimistic. All right, always.
Yes, I am. The glass is half empty, and I just dropped it. That's what it feels like most of the time. Just like I don't even get to have any water because I fucking dropped it. That's how pessimistic I am.
God damn it.
Haunted Mansion has a really good cast of accomplished character actors led by Lakeith Stanfield. You've also got Tiffany Haddish, Rosario Dawson, Danny DeVito, Owen Wilson, Jamie Lee Curtis, Jared Leto, Winona Ryder, weirdly, in a brief cameo.
Yeah. I was hoping for more. So I really
I
like
know. And it's pretty formulaic and kind of, predictable. I think we all know where it's going, but the journey there is entertaining. I particularly really liked Owen Wilson as the fake priest.
Yeah, he was cracking me up with his comments. We need to say a quick prayer to the Lord. Please get us out of this mansion.
The power of Kent compels you. It had me rolling.
They really taps into like what makes Owen Wilson's like humor work so well in this movie.
Yeah, I love him as just a clueless con man who stumbles into a crazy situation way out of his control and just has to deal with it.
Yeah.
Danny DeVito was hilarious as this like seasoned professor who just wants to see that house, and his random just holy shit moments were fantastic.
Oh yeah, I mean he's always great. I did like how he always wears that fucking thing when he's out in public.
I thought Lakeith Stanfield was a great leading man. Like his character was like there was a lot of emotion in this movie I wasn't expecting. A lot of emotional moments that he's a great actor, really like committed to. You'd think there's no way this was like an amazing script that you just had to be a part of. Like this was a check, but he's still committed big time, and I respect that.
Yeah, he had that big scene where he reveals what happens to his wife, which obviously the movie lays it pretty on like that's pretty early on she dies, and you're like, well, how? But then you have that big moment when he reveals what happened. That was a good scene. Even I was like, even myself who I wasn't like talk to me levels of engaged. I was like being halfway engaged throughout the whole movie. Like I said, for those of you, if you listen, talk to me one episode first. At one point, I did get that point. I was like, okay, this movie needs to end. Like it's long, or I was feeling it a little bit. That scene got me. That scene got me good when he started like telling what exactly happened to his wife.
That is a very powerful scene. This is long. I think it's weird when a kids movie crests above an hour 40.
Yes.
I don't know why they do. I mean, kids' attention span are not that, you can't do that.
Kids' attention spans already suck, and we live in a world where like it's a known fact that the attention span is getting shorter. I think and this is not me getting on a whole fucking rant about like social. If you like social media, you like social media. I don't give a shit. But because of things like TikTok and stuff, that's why, right? And YouTube and things like that. Again, I'm not here to demonize those platforms. I think that's such an old person new. Like, how dare they like their social media? Let the kids enjoy their shit. But with that said, like, if attention spans are getting shorter, why are we so adamant? Our studio is so adamant to make their films 2.5 to 3 hours long constantly, or be a little bit over 2 hours. Why? Attention spans are getting shorter. Tighten this shit up then.
You can't separate a modern child from their iPad for that amount of time and have a well-rounded child on your hands. That's just the way it works these days.
Yeah, like, and look, don't get me wrong. At the same time, I'm all about like, I'm of the mindset that like the movie needs to warrant its runtime. Okay, like yes, if like John Wick 4, I almost, even though I love the first three films, when I saw that runtime of like almost 3 hours, I almost was like, oh fuck, why does it need to be that long? Watch movie, it warranted it. The whole movie, I was engaged the whole time. Then you have someone like talk to me. I was only an hour, like just shy of an hour 40, I believe, just shy of it. And again, it warranted its runtime. I was not leaving theater going, man, I wish I had just a little bit more. Like they could have tied up just a tad. No, perfect. So many other films though, even ones I really like, even like Mission Impossible, which I really liked. At one point, I was like, they could have taken some more shit out. Like, this does not need to be almost 3 hours long.
That thing has so many exposition dumps. It's crazy. That could have been trimmed big time. I feel like in this movie, we don't need the excursion to Crump Manor to go check out, to go find the hat. Like, just put the hat in the basement and have that be a quick little thing there. Why do we have to go to a whole nother mansion?
Yeah, which was like what another like 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes of the film.
Yeah, unnecessary. I do love the beginning when Rosario Dawson and her kid like realize the house is haunted, and they immediately are just like, nope, fuck this, and just leave.
Oh, I love her delivery. Like, this is our home now. And as soon as she looks up and sees the thing, she goes, "Oh, we're getting out of here," and
Yeah,
just books it out.
I appreciated that, but also it's a little, little like Ju-on, once you're in the house, you're haunted. A lot friendlier than Ju-on, thankfully, but
Yeah.
couldn't do that shit in a Disney movie.
Well, I mean, luckily in this case, like the idea is that they are all good spirits minus the Hatbox Ghost. And I did appreciate when they do go to Crump Manor and the ghosts are in the back car with them. They get there and they open the door. He just goes, "Look, if you want us to not, if you don't want to be trapped in this house forever, like leave us alone. Don't haunt us right now. Stay in the car, and we'll take care of this, and we'll go back to the house." And they just immediately shut the door, and I'm like, "There you go."
I like that the ghost, like the sea captain ghost, ends up helping them. Like,
Yeah,
I thought that was cute. Kind of weird that, like, why is the Hatbox Ghost in charge? Like, what is he? Why is he more powerful? Like, what's the deal there?
I just got the idea because I think because of the black magic stuff, you get the idea maybe he tapped into some stuff while he was alive.
Sure. All right. Yeah, whatever. This is not a story driven movie. You got ghosts, you got laughs, you got some cries. It is what it is. This isn't anything to write home about, but it is good.
It's entertaining.
Yes, it's entertaining. It's junk food. McDonald's.
I enjoy it, but do I love it? Not really.
No, I'll eat it, but I'm not gonna call somebody and be like, "You're not gonna believe the meal I just had."
You won't believe what they did with the nuggets today.
Yeah, dude, I got 11 instead of 10 bonus nugget.
They didn't even charge me.
Fresh fries, my man. Fresh fries. Yeah, that's hilarious. If you ever call me and like brag about a McDonald's meal you had, I'm going to hang up on you before you finish talking.
I'm going to make sure I brag about something else, but it's actually going to be McDonald's. So I can get the brag out and then get the hang up.
Well, I mean, I honestly like. What else do you want to talk about with Haunted Mansion? I really don't have a lot to say. It's just kind of like I liked it, but yeah, there it is. Like what else? What else can we talk about?
Wow, you brought nothing to this.
Not really. No, I like Talk to Me way more. This was more just like, okay, what else you got?
I mean, yeah, Saint Talk to Me was better. I I felt like for gateway horror, I've seen gateway horror films. I've gone just a tad bit harder than this. Not that they
Yes.
didn't have some good scares, but it felt like after the initial scare, when they get to the house initially, and they go scare them out, scare them out. After that, I never really tapped into scares anymore.
Why were they scaring anybody if they wanted to be free of Crump and his evil?
Probably so you didn't get that 1,000th soul.
Oh, okay, there you go. All right, that's a valid reason. Yeah, keep people out of that house. Good idea.
Yeah,
There you
that
go.
was what I would assume. So they don't. Yeah, they don't. He doesn't get that last soul.
That ending when you find out that the kid's dad is actually dead, and he just everything sucks without him here. That whole thing that got me a little bit.
That got me, but I kind of saw that twist. I won't lie. I was like, the dad's probably dead. Like, if anything, I'm kind of annoyed that the mom just hasn't told the Keith stay. Like, tell him the dad is dead instead of having this usual trope we have in every show and movie I've watched where we're not going to tell you vital information until it's absolutely necessary.
I wasn't. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I nodded off a couple times, so I might have missed some information about Dad. I wasn't thinking about that at all.
No, literally up until then, she just keeps saying she says sometimes to Keith Stanfield, yeah, after all the stuff that happened with his dad, and you're like, I'm not thinking like he probably died if they're just not going to ever mention this.
Hmm.
And then sure enough, yeah.
The bonding over their shared grief was an interesting decision, and that I think worked. And
Yeah,
then
it's
Lakeith Stanfield deciding, it's when Crump's like, what is it? You have to. Don't you want to know if your wife loved you, or if you loved? Don't you want to tell her you loved her? And he's like, she knows, and then kicks him in the face.
oh yeah, that was good. It is interesting that even Disney decided to go for like a grief metaphor.
You can't make a horror movie anymore unless it's about grief. You can't do it. Those are the rules.
And I'm like, can we just see? Well, Saw X. I swear to God, Saw X somehow sneaks in grief in there.
Well, I mean, Kramer is dying.
No, no, no,
Grief inspired this whole fucking crusade.
no, no, no.
Remember, he lost his son, Gideon? Yeah, Saw is a grief movie.
No, no.
Yep, they're all grief movies. Every single horror movie ever made, except for the sadness. I don't know what the fuck was going on there.
Grief.
Yeah, it is. I'm getting a little tired of it. It is, there are other things you can base your horror movie around. I would like
Yes,
to see some variety. You see it in the slasher movies all the time. You don't see it very much in the others.
you don't like slasher, but I think, and that's also I think why I'm so attached to like slashers and like the more gore fest type films because I'm like they just want you to have fun. They're just like, look, just turn your brain off, have a good time. Okay, we're not going to sit there and beat you with some metaphor. Here's 30-something-year-old actors playing teenagers that are going to get fucked up, have sex. You'll see some boobies, and then there'll be a whole lot of death.
You should get a job working for like Miramax because you can pitch a slasher like nobody's business. You just throw a B or C tier actor's name on top of that, and you can sell that to any studio.
Well, Shannon Elizabeth, she's not doing anything. I heard there's a lot of CW actors that need some work.
I'm just picturing you like becoming a huge mogul by just repeatedly pitching the first Scream movie to every studio, but just changing things ever so slightly every time.
Yeah, every time.
Just a little bit. Like you just keep pitching your favorite movies, and they're like, "That's brilliant! Oh my god, that's brilliant!" Like you pitch Friday the 13th, but his name is like Jackson, like Venison or something.
Jackson Manhees.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
yeah.
Lake.
Franklin Krugman. You honestly, people are so fucking stupid these days. You could probably get away with that for quite a while.
Probably could. They probably think it's an AI generated script. I'm like, no, it's all me.
Picturing you pitching Elm Street to New Line, and they're not picking up on it. They're just like, this sounds amazing. We can make millions off this.
You could do a franchise.
One guy in the back's like, are you people fucking stupid? But he doesn't have enough power to make any decisions, so nobody can do anything about it.
No, and as soon as they ask me, do you have ideas for a sequel? Got like 8 of them. And even for a remake.
Oh my god. What about I got an anthology TV show for you too, if you're interested.
Yeah. If we get another franchise off the ground, I got crossover potential we're talking about here.
And in that one, I've got New York, I've got space, I've got psychic chicks, I've got worms. What else you got? What else you need? Oh, this is good. This is great.
I'm just looking at the scripts for those movies, just basically just copy paste and changing shit.
You bring the fucking DVDs to the pitch and you're just reading the back cover. Oh, Hollywood is so fucking stupid. I honestly think that like if you knew enough people, like if you had enough connections, you could get away with that.
Yeah, you probably could.
Yeah.
Look at how they got away with look at the fact that as soon as the show went to public domain from Disney, how much fucking public domain horror films we got with Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Sorry. Blood and Honey.
You don't see Blood and Money like he's a gangster or some shit. That sounds awesome.
It does. I mean, it made a lot of money, even though I heard it's bad. But then you had it's not Disney, but you had the main one that came out. They even had to quickly put in there it's a parody, so they didn't get sued by anyone. I don't know if you heard there's 2 different Cinderella ones coming out.
Beautiful. Are they allowed? Like,
Bambi
they
one's on
couldn't
the
actually
table?
say the phrase. Like, they couldn't actually say Grinch, could they? In the mean one.
No, they couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's two. I think there's a Bambi one coming. I think I heard about Bambi one.
How do you do a Bambi horror movie?
He fucks those hunters up. That's how. After shooting his,
Wasn't that an SNL sketch with Dwayne
it
Johnson?
was. It was. I've watched it several times. It's one of the better sketches.
Deer crossing, motherfucker. Oh my god. That's real. That's real now. Well, you know what? Bring it on. Why not?
Hey, fuck it. It's one of the few types of films we'll be getting is those types of films because they don't work with SAG, they don't hire WGA writers. We'll be getting those just fine.
Gonna be a lot of non-union shit over the next few years.
So much.
Gonna really make people, start to understand what a union does. A lot of people are going to be like, where's the quality? It's like, well, the quality is currently being fought for in the streets by people who aren't getting paid enough to make that quality. That's where it is. It's dying, and you killed it.
Yeah. Not you, A24. You are the one of the good ones that agree to all terms and can still actually do stuff with WGA and SAG.
You remember that you seen that Homelander meme where he's like, all of you are really fucking up right now, except you, like Black Noir. You're doing great. You seen that meme?
Yeah.
Black Noir is A24. They're the only one who's just like, you're doing great, keep it up. Everyone else is like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Let's hope that A24 doesn't fuck up because we saw that played out in The Boys between Homelander and Black Noir.
Hopefully. I mean, I don't see A24 suddenly, going insane and just demanding all sorts of crazy shit to the point where they're unrecognizable. I feel like they would have done that by now. So keep it up.
They're just waiting. Oh, okay, the other one's a week in rice now.
I think if they ever had $1 billion gross of a movie, something would happen. But that's not going to happen.
Not the type of films they come out with. I'm glad their films do successful, but I don't see them ever crossing $1 billion.
That would be amazing and remarkable. But and it would probably cause a lot of strife, but that's not going to happen.
No.
Has a horror film ever? I don't think a horror film's ever made it to $1 billion.
Not that I know of.
Does anything come close? Like, what's the highest grossing horror film of all time? Let's look that up.
Probably something like Halloween or Blair Witch or something like those indie films. I think Blair Witch might actually be way up there.
The highest grossing horror film of all time is It.
Oh yeah, I mean like 700-800 million.
700 million. Number 2 is The Sixth Sense with 672 million. I didn't know that movie it was that big success.
Damn.
Even though we've done this on the podcast twice, and I probably read that number out loud, but I remember that.
I'm proud of you.
You didn't know either. Number 3 is I Am Legend with 585 million, and number 4 is World War Z with 540 million. Those are not the 4 films I would have guessed.
No, and I was liking it all the way up until you said World War Z. I was like, damn it, that one.
Number 5, It Chapter 2, 470 million. Number 6, The Exorcist, 441 million in 1973. Damn. Number 7, Signs, 408 million. Number 8, Prometheus, 403 million. Number 9, The Nun, 365 million. Number 10, Hannibal, 351 million. Interesting group of films there.
Yeah. God, I hated The Nun so much.
I know. Are you going to see The Nun 2?
No.
You're not?
No.
You sure?
Yes.
You really sure?
Yeah, it's like The Haunting in Venice. I'm not getting tricked again.
Well, I'm seeing both because I have the season pass.
I have such like PTSD anytime like the Haunting in Venice show comes out because I'm just like, no, I will not fall for this a third time, you fucks.
When I saw The Nun, the scariest thing that happened to me was my server was somebody I had recently stopped seeing because she turned out to be fucking crazy. And she gave me my popcorn, and we had a lock eyes moment where I was like, what's going to happen? And nothing happened, thank God. But that was the scariest thing that happened to me when I saw The Nun. I liked the movie too. I didn't think it was that bad. I don't really get why people went apeshit over how bad The Nun was.
It was boring as shit. I fell asleep like 3 times trying to watch it.
It was the same shit we get with The Conjuring and Annabelle. Those movies are all pretty much the same movie.
Probably why I checked. I'm like, I can't do this anymore.
Fair enough. Well, anyway, I guess I'll have to grab someone else to do The Nun 2 with me.
Yeah, I'm not.
Sometime today for that.
I'm not sitting through it. I'm not doing it.
Fair enough. Well, okay. I guess that kind of wraps it up. We didn't really talk a lot about Haunted Mansion, but you know what? There's really not a lot of substance here. It's a good movie, but I feel like it's just going to haunt Disney Plus forever. People will be like, oh, what's that? Oh, that's the ghost of a movie that came out in 2023 that nobody really saw.
Yeah, and again, why does Disney release their horror films in July?
That's another big one. Yeah,
in summer, I should say.
They got to stop doing, like, has that ever worked out for them? No, it always tanks every time because nobody's thinking Halloween in the summer.
Yeah, and like obviously you can make the argument that horror films are released year round. Yes, but this is the thing. A lot of times those films are geared towards an older audience that doesn't give a shit what time of the year it is. They're going to go see it. You know what I mean? Like, it's adults seeing it. When you're making a family friendly like gateway horror film, you're more apt to get audience participation from families around October that want to take their kids to go see something that is with the season, as opposed to July when they're taking them out to go swimming and shit.
Well, gateway horror always seems to be more in tune with the season. Like, you're going to put on if I'm watching movies with the family, I'm going to put on like Hocus Pocus and The Nightmare Before Christmas before I'm going to put on Elm Street or an Audition. Horror does not automatically equal Halloween. There has to be a vibe. There has to be, intent there. And I think, a lot of gateway horror does that because it's easy for kids to relate Halloween with spooky as opposed to, straight up frightening.
Yeah.
But you don't do that shit in July.
No, that's why someone like Talk to Me, which is a straight up horror film,
yeah,
did do well. It's targeted towards an older audience that doesn't give a shit. They want to watch it regardless. There's nothing in it indicating it's set around Halloween. It's just a horror film. So yeah, it did better.
And Haunted Mansion is set around Halloween, weirdly.
Yeah, it is set around Halloween. Yeah, it is. So I don't see it having like the Hocus Pocus effect where like it'll get any cult following. I just don't see that happening. I think it'll have a better reception than the Eddie Murphy one has. But yeah, I don't see this being talked about for years and years and years. It's an enjoyable film. I can definitely see some people putting it on around October timeframe. I'm sure it'll hit Disney Plus in time this year for Halloween.
There's not a lot of films that come out these days that I think are going to be cult classics. Like, the idea of a cult classic doesn't apply that much to modern films anymore.
Well, I think that's for a lot of reasons. I think we, in a way, have killed the idea of cult classics in modern cinema because we're so franchise dependent. So like it has to lead to something that there's nothing coming out that I feel like could be a cult classic. Like there could be. And also I just think that term gets so, it's kind of like up there with iconic. It's just so overused. And like I have seen people that will watch from and go, man, this is a cult classic in the I'm like, no. You don't decide that. It just happens.
Well, and also I think everything is so accessible now. Like, the whole point of a cult classic back in the day was like it came out briefly, it disappeared, somebody discovered it on tape or something, it got a word of mouth following, it became this big underground success. There's no such thing as underground success anymore. Everything is accessible somewhere.
Yeah, until the streamers decide to take it out off the site for tax cutting reasons.
In that, speaking of, by the way, if you're a fan of Cartoon Network's Over the Garden Wall, it's gone. Max took it off. So no more Over the Garden Wall. Sorry, Isabel. I know you really like that. So found that out today. I was like, I'm glad I watched it because now I can never watch it.
That's great. Like, God, we're going back to like when, some things that make the transition from VHS to DVD and they get lost forever. And it's like,
But there were at least when that happened, there was the possibility of like a work print somewhere or in somebody's private collection. These days, it's just poof, gone in the wind, never to be seen again.
Yeah, never to be. There's shit I thought like was it? I didn't watch the show, but Willow, they did the Disney Plus series recently. They took it off, and I was like, what the hell? Like I thought that was a hit, and like for people that are fans of that, hope you watched and enjoyed it because it's gone. It's gone for good.
That was very much not a hit. No, the Willow series tanked big time. That was a big surprise failure for Disney.
That's shocking. This movie has a huge following around it.
Yeah, so does Indiana Jones and so does Star Wars. But when you make something that feels like that, but sucks all the joy and life out of it, we can tell.
Fair enough.
Yeah, Disney, that's become their thing. They're doing that with their own content with like The Lion King and Pinocchio and all that shit. Like they're doing that to their own work and they're doing that to stuff that they're purchasing. And now Marvel's starting to feel the effect of that too.
Yeah, they used to be the golden child. Now they're not the golden child.
It's like a chef who used to make the most amazing recipes. Like it was a, Toast of New York kind of chef. And now they're depressed and angry about where their life has gone. And it's being reflected in their food, which is nowhere near as quality as it used to be. Still kind of tastes like what you used to get from this guy, but now you can tell that he doesn't care anymore. That's Disney.
Yeah, that's Disney. And eventually those people walk away from that. You'll walk away.
Yeah. Or like Jon Favreau, they'll find, they'll buy a food truck and find that happiness again. Check out our chef episode that got released last week. It was a great movie.
Oh my God, you did that, you bastard.
I'm plugging Foodgasm. We got Boiling Point coming this Friday. But yeah, Haunted Mansion, it is what it is. There's going to be a lot of it is what it is movies on First Thoughts because there's just blockbusters are so formulaic and dry now. It's hard to find anything worth talking about in them anymore. The indie stuff like Talk to Me is where we're going to find the most conversation because there's more to say.
Yeah. And, looking ahead to August, now that July's pretty much past us by the time this comes out. Looking ahead to August, again, the non-block, like the closer to horror stuff, the stuff that's horror or closely adjacent. I say that because of Meg 2. Or I feel like the stuff we'll have more to talk about. You know what I mean? Like, I do think we'll have a good amount to talk about Mutant Mayhem because it looks like, again, that movie based off trailers looks like Seth Rogen and company made that with love and care and fucking commitment. So it looks like there'll be a lot to talk about with that. Meg 2, unless it's a disappointment, looks like a hell of a much more fun film than the first one. We got Last Voyage to Demeter, which looks fucking, again, a horror film that looks like it's going to fucking give it to us what we want. And it's like, there's not, not a blockbuster coming out in August, really, but if there were, I doubt they would look nearly as good as like the other films I'm excited for in August. You know what I mean?
The only, the closest August has to a blockbuster is Blue Beetle, which is projected to be a fucking embarrassing bomb. But I'm going to see it. We'll talk about Blue Beetle, obviously.
I'll check it out.
I hope it's not the disaster. It's really going to be a good movie that is just going to be outshined by DC's monumental fuck-ups. But we'll see. Yeah. This week for wide releases, we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, which looks promising, as well as Meg 2 The Trench, which also looks ridiculous, over the top. Jason Statham versus a lot of giant sea creatures, because why not? Why not?
Hey, look, my big beef with the first Meg was that it just did not embrace its concept. It was not fun. It had so many scenes that felt like they were trying to be Jaws. I'm like, you have an outlandish concept, embrace it. This sequel, regardless of the whole, like, they didn't make it all like, no, it's a PG-13 film because the first one was PG-13. Like, let's calm down, people. This one just looks like they are finally going to do what they should have done the first time. They're like, look, it's called the Meg. Let's just go all out and have a good fucking time. We got Jason Statham in this. Give the people what they want. Him versus giant prehistoric sea creatures. And I'm all about it. If the trailer is exactly what I'm hoping they are tapping into, I think this was going to be such a fun film.
Here's hoping. I didn't really like the first one that much, but this one looks wild and ridiculous. And yeah, like you said, trying to be Jaws. I think more shark movies need to accept the very true fact that none of them are ever going to be Jaws. So just try to be the best, be the best Meg 2 you can be, because you're not going to be Jaws. Let that go.
Yeah. Look at your concept and go, we should probably just have fun with this.
I don't think anybody was embarking on The Meg with the plan to take home Best Original Screenplay at the Oscars. Like, it's a movie about Jason Statham fighting a big shark, and this is Jason Statham versus 3 big sharks and an octopus.
And I'll say, and try an octopus.
Yeah.
So, and God knows what else they're hiding from us, hopefully, in the trailer.
I think they should have called it Megs. That's what I would have called it.
The Megs.
The Megs. Meg 2, Meg harder.
Yeah, no, it looks fun. I did, and I always get a laugh when you see like the people trying to paddleboard or whatever it is away from the Meg when it comes up to eat them.
The part of the trailer that always gets me is the lady being like, see this? 100% Meg proof. And then immediately gets eaten by the fucking Meg. Immediately.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's why I say, like, it really does look like they are like, okay, we heard you the first time. We did not have fun. Like, we probably should have. So we're going to embrace the zaniness of this concept this time.
I hope so. I want to, I was underwhelmed by the first one, and I want to go into this one walking away thinking, like, what the fuck was that? I want to say
yes, I want that. And I mean that in a good way, not the usual, like, bad way of, like, what the fuck did I just watch? I want the good, what the fuck did I just watch?
Yeah, I want to have an hour and a half long conversation that gets away from us about the crazy shit we just saw. That's always the goal for these. It's like, I don't want to get stale in the conversation. I want to realize the meter's been running this whole time and I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, I think like the possibly the Talk to Me episode.
Yep, we went past the hour on that. We went past on Mission Impossible and The Flash.
Okay, funny on The Flash one because I didn't really like The Flash like that.
Well, that was because I forgot to set a timer and we just kept talking. And on this one, I forgot to set the timer until about 20 minutes into the episode. So, whatever. I think that's a good place to sound off here. This was fun. Go see Haunted Mansion or don't. You wait a month. It'll be on Disney Plus. You can watch it at home on Halloween if you want.
Yeah, you can wait for the appropriate time to watch it.
Oh, well, yeah. We'll have one for you on Ninja Turtles and the Meg. It's a sea creature weekend. It's a mutated sea creature weekend.
I'll see a mutant weekend. It's a mutant weekend.
Yep. Talking turtles, big sharks.
I should watch my Anaconda movies. I only got that Blu-ray box set just to get into the mood.
I'm gonna watch Austin Powers because I want to see those mutated sea bass.
Jesus Christ.
That's the first. Whenever I think of mutated sea creatures, that's the first thing that pops into my head is the mutated sea bass. Because it's such a stupid concept. Anyway, yeah, you watch Anaconda, you'll have fun. Cool. Peace out. Check out our content, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.